Summer 1984, Los Angeles, USA. This is where the largest sports event on the planet will be held. Like the nightmare of the 1972 Munich Olympics, the pain still lingers in the hearts of peace-loving people. 11 athletes of the Israeli Olympic team were taken hostage and killed by cold-blooded terrorists. Now, the question for the White House is what they would do if the scenario of a hostage situation repeats. The United States appears more perplexed than ever, as they have never possessed a rapid response force. Deploying the military requires approval from the president or legal authorities. That's where HRT comes in. This is the story of the hostage rescue team, the special unit of the FBI. And how it has changed the concept of special operations in the world. The man with the timeless dance moves once said, "I am a Black American. I am proud of my race. I am proud of who I am. I am full of pride and dignity." Those were heartfelt words from the king of pop, Michael Jackson, in the 1980s. At that time, the United States was undergoing a major transformation in terms of economy, culture, and politics, along with the flourishing of pop and rock music, Hollywood cinema, and immigration waves. Or the immigration wave. The United States was then in the midst of an arms race with the Soviet Union during the Cold War. At the same time, they also had to confront the domestic crisis with protests advocating for the rights of women, people of color, the LGBTQ community, and even issues like drugs, crime, and escalating violence were almost out of control in society. The constant change and the increase from non-state factors made the United States consider establishing a special force of elite soldiers outside the regular military. Administrative units now needed a faster combat solution, rather than relying entirely on regular military forces. Taking the Latin slogan, Safari Vitus, meaning to save lives, the hostage rescue team HRT was established as a perfect remedy for America's headache. Established with the assistance of the experienced Delta Force in the U.S. military, HRT quickly became one of the most effective forces within the FBI's domestic structure. To prepare thoroughly for hosting the 1984 Olympic Games, the FBI took on the responsibility of establishing a special team capable of conducting counter-terrorism activities and preventing hostage situations without the need for military intervention. Before that, in 1983, HRT officially completed its first expanded training activities. 10 years later, HRT became an integral part of the Serious Incident Response Force. As part of this force, HRT had to meet the increasing demands of domestic missions, especially after September 11, 2001. The collapse of these two towers was also when the hearts of the American people collapsed. The numbers on the screen are the result of simultaneous airplane attacks on the World Trade Center in New York and the U.S. Department of Justice in Washington by 19 terrorists from the Al-Qaeda organization. It caused a shock worldwide and significantly influenced U.S. foreign policy. This attack is considered a crucial milestone marking the explosion of the global fight against terrorism. Therefore, the operational limits of HRT at this time have exceeded the borders of the United States. Now, to meet more diverse mission requirements, both inside and outside the country. In addition to combining training parallel with Delta or SWAT teams, the training process of soldiers in the HRT ranks must be elevated to an almost unimaginable level of challenge. To stand in the ranks of the HRT force, a prerequisite that you must overcome is a 2-week-long selection process and then an additional 6 months of special training by FBI specialists. Not only that, but you also have to compete with extremely tough opponents, because up to 80% of candidates or nominees for the HRT force already have impressive experience and achievements while serving in the ranks of the police or the U.S. military. The minimum standards for selecting HRT recruits include: first, they must be U.S. citizens, have a recommendation from a law enforcement agency, possess a driver's license, and have a 3-year contract in an agent capacity. Additional requirements include drug testing, lie detector tests, credit checks, and background checks, as well as direct interviews with the FBI. After being selected, HRT recruits undergo tactical and physical training needed to become outstanding special agents. Physical training is one of the first components of training. It includes running, mandatory marches, overcoming obstacles, and proficient use of equipment. The physical training process takes about 6 months before trainees move on to the next phase of training. Depending on the specialization of each member of the team, they may be trained with different special operations groups. For example, maritime officers will complete the next stage of training with basic underwater exercises with the Navy SEAL Special Operations Team. In addition, experienced marksman candidates have the opportunity to participate in advanced marksmanship training to maximize combat capabilities. Even a man named Shins, the former FBI deputy director, once said in the media that tests and training are designed to break the will of candidates so that the training staff can see each trainee's ability to cope with pressure. Those who participate in this 2-week toughening process will only be allowed to sleep for 1 to 2 hours a day before continuing to solve other tasks until they collapse. Here is some scarce information about the HRT selection process from 2007 to the present. Only 150 agents have applied to the FBI, and only 10% of them have been accepted into the HRT force. Not just muscles. Although being a highly elite force with the privilege of preemptive shooting, HRT has faced numerous failures and substantial criticism from the Congress and the American public. The main climax was the failed hostage rescue siege in the town of Waco, Texas, which resulted in the deaths of 76 people, including hostages and suspects. The Mount Carmel Center in Texas was in chaos with weapons and ammunition. HRT was dispatched to the scene to respond, and the siege lasted for nearly 2 months. After 51 days with no progress, HRT decided to use armored vehicles to breach the house and make arrests and hostage rescues. However, they encountered intense gunfire from the Davidians, forcing them to withdraw. Immediately after this attack, the entire house started to burn, resulting in the death of 76 people, including hostages and fanatics inside the building. After this painful event, HRT's hasty combat tactics were heavily criticized by the media and the government. American society put pressure on law enforcement, arguing that violence should be the last resort, and authorities must exhaust all other possible options first, including hostage negotiation units. Although the U.S. hostage negotiation training program started in the early 1970s, it was only after this failed siege that the New York City Police Department and the FBI pushed for the development of their own hostage negotiation training programs. By the late 1980s, the concept of negotiation rapidly expanded and applied to many different law enforcement activities. Not only did it prove its usefulness in hostage rescues, but negotiation units also performed many tasks such as arresting extremely dangerous individuals, preventing suicides, advising and preventing workplace and school violence, as well as handling kidnapping for ransom cases, and more. Today, over half of the police agencies in the U.S. have dedicated negotiation units for use when necessary. Since the Waco incident that led to the death of 76 people in 1993, the U.S. Congress has mandated that all HRT activities are no longer discretionary, but must be coordinated with established hostage negotiation units that have been widely operational in the U.S. Returning to the main content, as of January 2020, there were a total of 149 full-time employees at HRT. According to some scarce information about the composition of HRT, they have 2 operational teams, the Gold Team and the Blue Team. Standing in these teams are a series of seasoned experts in marksmanship, hostage rescue, counterterrorism, and anti-hijacking activities. The operational composition of HRT also depends on various parameters and missions. However, fundamentally, HRT can flexibly cooperate with any special operations team or special forces, both domestically and internationally. HRT trainees continually participate in exercises and receive training in various tactics, including close quarters combat, providing tactical cover for unarmed personnel. They are trained to disable or capture terrorists or assault fortified structures. Shooting is considered a crucial skill for HRT's tactics, alongside close quarters combat skills. HRT snipers are often trained by Delta Force and other specialized marksmanship units. Additionally, they learn negotiation tactics, intelligence gathering, and information exploitation strategies. Specifically, they gather intelligence by observing and may negotiate if the situation requires it. Snipers are capable of tracking multiple targets, employing defensive firepower tactics, and maintaining precision at long distances. The mobile team is also a key pillar of HRT, capable of deploying to an area within 4 hours, using primarily combat helicopters or transport planes. HRT members also have the ability to move quickly, allowing them to execute rapid strategies. Moreover, training with specialized air units enables HRT to become more adept at coordinating responses to complex mission requirements. Furthermore, tactical site surveys are a formidable skill of HRT, allowing HRT teams to conduct functional tactical analyses of a building or specific target to prepare for a breach assault. Site surveys serve the purpose of forming special tactical teams for facilities across the U.S. and foreign bases. This skill is valuable for establishing direct attack strategies, as well as applying it to defensive preparations. To serve the purpose of rapid response, 2 units support HRT, the Tactical Helicopter Unit THU, and the Tactical Mobility Team TMT. Specifically, THU includes helicopters such as Bell 412EP and S-60M Black Hawk, while TMT includes various tactical vehicles listed on the screen by 5 seconds unfiltered. Chevrolet's tactical assault pickup truck has been modified. The versatile Humvee. The Light Desert Patrol Tactical Assault Vehicle, Polaris Mercer D4. Each vehicle in this list provides fast reaction speed and the necessary advantages for HRT to respond to crisis situations. Additionally, HRT's weapon arsenal is similar to other special forces, varying widely depending on each unique mission. Sniper rifles and various close-quarters combat weapons dominate in the majority of missions. In addition to the weapons cache, HRT also has access to various weapons, such as M401 carbines. Submachine guns like MP5, MP7. 2 types, Benelli M4 and Remington Model 870, are also among the favored shotguns. Along with M249, the MK48 always ranks high on the list of favorite machine guns for HRT soldiers. Talking more about HRT's guns in the global war on terror, many special forces teams in this force have fallen for the Mk18 assault rifle. It is a compact version of the M for carbine. Since the late 1990s, this rifle has undergone several modernizations and, due to its compact size, has become the perfect weapon for close-quarters combat. Throughout its formation and development, the HRT has made significant contributions to maintaining security and order in the United States. The riot at FCI Talladega on August 21, 1991, is one of the clear evidences of that. Faced with inevitable expulsion and dire conditions inside the prison, about 121 inmates at this federal prison organized a riot. In a short period, Talladega lost control and completely fell into the hands of the inmates. Some prison staff members were taken hostage. HRT was immediately tasked with ending the crisis by order of the FBI director, as his intelligence indicated that the inmates intended to kill the prison staff. The elite HRT soldiers quickly quelled the rebellion. They smashed through main doors, subdued many prisoners, freed hostages, and caused no casualties. In another incident, the Colorway hostage crisis is also a famous mission of HRT. A mission with both success and failure, and it's challenging to evaluate this hostage crisis. HRT successfully rescued hostages on January 15, 2022. On January 15, 2022, the perpetrator had seized 4 hostages at the Beit Israel Jewish congregation. The motive was to free Afia Siddiq, a Pakistani woman imprisoned in Fort Worth, Texas. After the HRT forces were deployed along with other components of the FBI, a siege began. After many hours and unsuccessful negotiation efforts, HRT finally had to make the decision to use lethal force because they feared civilian casualties would increase. They quickly deployed their forces, stormed the church, threw stun grenades to disorient, and rushed to the room where the terrorist was holding hostages. He was neutralized by the HRT special forces, and all hostages were safely rescued. However, this event also became a lesson for future missions undertaken by the HRT. While the hostages were safely released, the elimination of the terrorist made exploiting his motives for the crime seemingly impossible. If he had been captured alive, the FBI could have gained a better understanding of his motives and intentions to act further. Ending the threat could have been a top priority, leaving a vulnerability by having very little information after the incident was resolved. When the U.S. possesses an asset like the HRT to deal with such situations, they also have to consider that the path of lethal force may not be the safest solution for future situations. In conclusion, it can be said that the HRT Hostage Rescue Force under the FBI is one of the most elite special forces outside the U.S. military. They have silently preserved and ensured social order and safety, not only for the American people, but also contributed to building a stable peace globally. They are the scourge of cunning terrorists, representing President George Bush's words about the fight against those who have no regard for peace. We will not let terrorists and rogue nations hold our nation hostile. We will not let the fear and horror rule our hearts. So, do you think the HRT deserves to be one of the most elite armed organizations in the world? Leave your opinions in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe to motivate us to create more videos. And now, goodbye, and see you in the next video.